Hello, MCR family. Another weekly edition of the show live on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Should be a fun show today. I can't believe this weekend went exactly as I predicted it. And Gary had to witness it all in some fashion, or some of it in fashion. Should be a good one. I'm so excited for this one. Obviously, hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. I'm Matthew Hunter. Follow me right there. And I'm recording at the House of Dream studio in downtown LA. So if you have any recording needs, hit me up. Without further ado, let me get to my co-host, Gary, in Dallas, who I know it's been a tough weekend for him. Gary, how are you?
It was 0 for 5. First, the Texas Longhorns baseball team lost in the College World Series. And then Barrios lost. And it wasn't just Juarez that lost. Also on the top-ranked undercard, Biggie Rodriguez and Jaime Hasso both lost. So it was 0 for 4. And then, although on a small card in Florida, Eddie Vasquez of Fort Worth won. So that was something. But it was one loss after another. Just I don't even know what to say. It was one loss after another.
Gary, I can't believe the weekend went like that. Where like every one of your guys lost. And most of them I felt like lost in dramatic fashion too, which was like an added like icing on top of the cake, you know. Like it must have been a tough pill to swallow, Gary. I do apologize.
It was I flew out to Minnesota to watch Omar. He's a personal friend of mine. And it was tough to watch. Like I knew it was close. I wasn't scoring it, watching it ringside.
Mm-hmm.
But it was tough. It was and Aaron Cantu from Fight Hype was sitting next to me. And after the 8th round, he's like, it's close. Your boy's edging him. And then when he got knocked down in the 9th, he's like, he better win the 10th. And then he didn't win the 10th. And
it was a good fight. Like, here's what we're going to get to. Like, even like with Barrios, like, all of your guys, they put on really good performances. They just ended up getting beat up towards the end, it felt like. Let's start at the top, Gary. I mean, let's be honest. Gervonta Davis, Mario Barrios was like the marquee event of the weekend. At least felt like that way. I have no idea what the pay-per-view number is going to be. Maybe I shot it a little bit too low. Maybe it's going to come up to like 170, 200K. Because it seemed like there was a lot of attention on Saturday night on that fight. And the fight itself delivered. I mean, it was a real back-and-forth fight. I think the first round is a swing round where like no one really did anything. Barrios won the next 4 or 5 rounds, it felt like. And then Tank sort of took over and started doing a lot of damage. And then obviously finished him and won the 11th round. And it was a great back-and-forth fight. I think both guys showed new sort of wrinkles to their game. I think Barrios' even defeat, I think, showed a lot. I can't wait to see him again in action. But I think Tank Davis showed even more. I mean, I'll be honest. Tank Davis's defense won him the night. Yes, obviously he hurt him and knocked him down with left hands and right hooks and stuff like that. But he was able to block and parry so many shots from the taller, rangier fighter that also hits hard. Like Barrios can land. And Tank was able to really, I think, negate a lot of that offense from Barrios and was able to then capitalize more on in the later rounds. Gary, obviously, Barrios is one of your boys. I mean, tough loss, but thoughts on the performance, thoughts on Tank performances as well?
It's okay. Barrios fought like a warrior. I just thought his size would be too much. Like I wasn't underestimating Tank. I just thought Barrios was too big for him. And he fought the first 4 or 5 rounds perfectly. It did exactly what as you would have drew up. And then,
Gary. By the way, Gary's been having so many tech issues before the show. He might freak out here. I hope he doesn't. Because if it's caught on live, that'd be hilarious. Gary's back. Gary, what happened?
I have no idea. It just said StreamYard said something went wrong.
You're back.
They weren't lying.
Okay, as you're saying, Barrios performing quite well to the game plan the first 5 rounds.
5 rounds.
Yeah.
But you saw Tank getting closer and closer and closer, and you knew it was about to combust. And I said that's okay because Barrios can drop him, and then Barrios had some success after say the 5th round, but mostly Tank was winning the round.
Mm-hmm.
Like he did really well in the 9th round after he got dropped twice in the 8th, and then he was doing well again in the 10th until about the last 30 seconds of the round.
Yeah, like I give him the 9th round, for example, because
and that's when Floyd came yelling in his corner, "You're going to lose. That you're losing." And then the 10th round, he was doing good again. That was really a tale of 2 rounds. It was the first 2 minutes. Barrios was doing great work, and then Tank started to unleash on him towards the end of the round. And then the 11th round, it was just too much. If it was a 10-round fight, I had it even after 10. His corner told me they had it about the same. It's Showtime. Steve Farhood had it even. So I said, okay, get on your horse and outbox him the last 2 rounds. It just wasn't. He didn't. The wear and tear of fighting Tank got to him, and then Tank landed the body shot, and he tried to get up. I mean, he just couldn't stand up straight. He tried. I mean, it was the Aztec blood. It was the warrior blood. It was just. Once you can't stand up straight against Tank and you're protecting your ribs, he's going to tee off on your face. Or I guess it was more, what do they call it? Solar plex?
Sternum.
Then it was because it wasn't a rib shot. It was like, yeah. He was protecting his midsection. You can't fight Tank that way. So the ref did a good job. I mean, there was no protest. They knew the fight had to be stopped at that point. But I don't think Barrios fought badly. I think he could have fought a little smarter. I think tie him up a little more. But Tank is so explosive, that's easier said than done.
Yeah. I mean, also, he would have to come into range of Tank in order to tie up. I mean, Barrios naturally probably wanted to be outside of Tank's range and throwing his jab, throwing his straight shots, right? So to tie up would be a little bit tough, I think, for him because he would have to come into range of Tank, and Tank had the faster hands and clearly was the heavier hitter. I think Barrios didn't want to really come into that mid-range as much as let's say he has in other fights.
He was too willing, in my opinion, to fight Tank on the inside. He was too willing to exchange with them. I thought he had to fight. Not that he fought an undisciplined fight. I would just keep using the Holyfield versus Tyson analogy, where every time he gets inside, I don't care if the fans boo. You smother him. You tie him up. You walk him backwards. You don't let him come forward. Right? It early on. And again, you have to fight a perfect fight to do that. Right? I just didn't know that Tank. I thought Tank was going to eat more shots on the outside. He got on the inside better than I thought he was going to do.
Yeah, that was our big, I think, sort of question mark in the preview fight was you're talking about Tank having to deal with that range. We talked about, hey, he doesn't have the defense of, let's say, like Canelo.
Yeah.
Other guys that are shorter in their division but can come on the inside and throw a lot of body work. Tank was really able to elevate his defensive game in this fight. Like, that is without saying. I mean, even the rounds that Barrios won, because he won like 5 rounds in a row almost, he didn't do any damage to Tank, really. And he wasn't wearing him down. He wasn't hitting the body that much. He wasn't doing any sort of offensive work, really. He was just throwing more, and Tank was just out of range, not landing the left. And then all of a sudden, like you said, Gary, he was able to inch his way forward, negate that range, and sort of landed his power shots, and everything changed from that. The boxing IQ, the boxing defense of Tank is what led him to throw those power shots, those fast combinations that Barrios really couldn't deal with. I wonder what that means for Barrios in terms of like fighting those very, very top guys, like a Josh Taylor, like Ramirez, like a Prograis, even though he's moving up, of course. I think Barrios is going to sort of hang around that top 10 to top 5-ish range and struggle getting past that to a degree. Gary?
I mean, I think he's a better outside fighter than Taylor is. Like, Taylor has more success on the inside. Like, you look at Taylor and you think he's going to be an outside He beat Prograis on the inside. He did great work with Ramirez on the inside. Like, I don't know how that fight goes. I'm not sure that Taylor. I'm not saying Taylor loses to Barrios, but I think Barrios could win that fight. Prograis is going to be tough. Like, I've talked to his camp before. That's not a good fight for him. Like, Prograis is leaving the division. It looks like. So that's not a fight. Although Barrios may leave the division too.
Absolutely true.
That's not a fight that that's a bad fight for him, right? Like when he was moving up, like this was 2-3 years ago, they were like, could he beat Hooker? Yeah, he can beat Hooker. Could he beat Prograis? No, man, that's not good. That's not a good fight. That's not a good fight. I think him and Ramirez is a great fight, and I know that fight's not going to get made for promotional reasons, but I think that's a great fight. I don't think Barrios' stock takes a hit. I think it rises, if anything. I think he emerged on the scene as a warrior. I think people enjoyed the fight. We'll see what the pay-per-view number comes in at, see how many people actually watched it. But everyone I talked to was, not that they were pleased that he lost, but they thought it was an entertaining fight, a good fight that he showed well for himself.
His stock absolutely rose, but in terms of prophesying into the future about what he can really do against those top elite guys, I think there is sort of a ceiling to his ability. If a guy that's Tank, who is 130-pounder, 135-pounder, who's 5'3", okay, can come on the inside in that way to you, Barrios, and knock you out in that way. And I know Tank has some special power, but that's not a good indicator of you facing some real top guys, either at 140 or at 147. This is his best opponent to date, Barrios.
Of course, right? By far, by a mile. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even with the weight discrepancy, like it's still his best opponent to date. And he lost. He got beat up. And this is a guy that's not in his weight class, if you have that context. A guy that a lot of people, I think, aren't that high on in some fashion. Maybe they're more high on Tank after Saturday night. I did see a lot of that. A lot of people that said they
have to be, right? Like, you can only do one of two things: completely discredit Barrios, which I've seen some tank haters do, but that's really a losing battle. Or you kind of have to give him his credit. Like, I didn't. He's a lot better than I thought. Like, he's better at getting on the inside. He's better on the inside than I thought. Like, he's better than I thought. I'm giving him full credit for that.
Yeah, I thought this fight was going to be way more difficult, and it was going to go the decision, and he was going to benefit from a split decision, to be quite honest. Like, that's how I felt it going. And that's not how it went. Even though, again, Barrios won a lot of rounds, they weren't dominant rounds. Like, Tank, in terms of the violence put on, dominated the fight against a guy that's a legit top 10 opponent, that's a real good prospect / contender. I know you're going to say champion. And a guy that's naturally way, way bigger than him. I know Tank's not hanging around at 140, which is kind of smart. I don't think he also fares that well against Prograis, Taylor, Ramirez, etc. Even adding like Pedraza. Like a Pedraza rematch, I think would be interesting for Tank. Like, Tank would win, but that would be a very interesting fight.
Take Prograis out. I'd pick him to beat Taylor. I'd pick him to beat Ramirez.
You pick Tank Davis to beat Josh Taylor right now?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
In similar fashion, or it's going to be a tough fight?
Similar fashion, but I think Taylor's better on it. Taylor's good on the inside. Like, I think a lot of people underestimate that because of how he's built, because he's built like Barrios, right? Like, you think he'd be Taylor's good on the inside. So I think he'd be more willing to fight on the inside than even Barrios was. I think that's a disaster. Like, I think Tank would knock out Taylor. And Rob's listening, or he'll hear this tomorrow and flip out. But
he will. He's going to text the group chat with some snide comment. You know it, Gary.
I think Prograis is too much of an athlete. Prograis is too versatile. I think, I'm not saying he couldn't beat Prograis, but I would pick Prograis to win that fight. Ramirez is interesting. I just think Ramirez's power might not be all that. He did look great against Hooker, but I would pick Tank to win that fight. Yeah, I think he would beat all those guys at 140.
So, like, let's say dropping him down to 135, which I think is where he's going to go. I mean, do you think he beats everyone there? Like Lopez, Loma, who we're going to get to later on the show, who looked, not to spoil it, but he looked vintage.
He don't beat Lopez. Lopez is different. Like Lopez is like Lopez. Lopez, I think is better. Lopez is special. Plus, he's got the size and reach on him. Everyone else, yeah. Does he beat Ryan Garcia? Yes. Does he beat Haney or Tiafimo? Yeah.
Hold on.
I mean,
only one of the people we're talking about, Lopez versus Tank, has beat one of the best prospects in the game. Okay. Lopez is ducking Tanahara. We all know that, Gary.
Ryan Garcia is ducking Tanahara.
They all are, Gary. Come on, you know.
I know.
Don't lose the script. Come on. I don't know. I think Tank's a wild card now in a lot of divisions. Like 130, 135, 140. Tank could be the best guy. He could be just a top 5 guy. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think we're all sold on him being a legit talent. Now, where's that talent going to go? Because there's multiple different routes he can go. I know Mayweather talked about in-house fights. Ellerby talked about in-house fights. There's not a lot of names that are on PBC rosters in those divisions, to be quite honest. The only names that I could think of was Michelle Rivera at 135, Chris Coper at 130, who could move up, and Sabral Matias at 140. Which, I mean, would be a fun fight, but, like, that's not a money fight. That's not happening.
Yeah. And Ellerby said he's not going to stay at 140. So that means 135 or 130. So
is it going to be a Michelle Rivera Showtime fight?
It's a fun fight. I mean, Rivera's not a name. He's not a draw, but I think he's a good fight. I think he's a really good fight. I don't pick him to win that fight, but it's a good fight. I have Tank to win. I mean, that's...
So Tank has an immediate in-house fight you could take that would be solid. I don't think those fights happen, though, because it's Mayweather Promotions. But after that, it's very limited for PBC, for Mayweather Promotions, for Al Heyman, in those divisions. So Tank's going to have to co-promote in some fashion. That's just the reality, especially, let's say, if Lopez goes and has a mega event that does near or better than the pay-per-view than Tank has done already. It's going to require a co-promotion. Like, that's the barometer we're going to find out, is that Lopez Kambosos Triller pay-per-view or the eventual Tifimo Lopez Lomachenko 2 pay-per-view. That could be a good barometer as well for the winner of that fight, whether they should be, getting a 60-40, 50-50 split with Gervonta Davis. Right, Gary?
Yeah. If you could wave a magic wand and make any fight next for him, what would it be?
Kambosos gets COVID.
Yeah.
And we get Gervonta Davis and Lopez on that Triller pay-per-view. Because
that's the best fight that can be made. I think you have to, because I haven't updated my pound for pound list. I don't know if I'd put Tank in it yet, but he's very close. If he's not 10, he's 11 or 12.
Really?
Yeah. I got to go through it again, but yeah. Because I got to move Taylor. I haven't made a list since Taylor unified, became undisputed. I got to put Taylor up. I don't know. I would still keep Charlo on because Charlo's won 3 belts. But I got to go through the names, but he's close. He's running through weight classes. Don't make that face at me.
Harry, it's not that like Tank's not special. Like he's not gifted as a boxer. Like that's not what I'm saying. That's not why I'm rolling my eyes. But there's so many great boxers right now that have done far more than Tank. Like this is a great win. Don't get me wrong. But it's a win against a top 10 guy that had a regular belt. That wasn't even the top 5 in most people's rankings.
Well, their rankings were wrong.
You know what I mean? Like even let's say you put him in the top 5, he's gonna be at number 5.
Sure, I think that's where I had him.
Like he's not anywhere above that. Is that automatic? I mean, jump you in the top 10 pound for pound when like
super flyweight. He's got one with Santa Cruz. He's got one with Pedraza. Like he's got wins now.
He has wins, yes. Those are solid wins. Those are. I mean, I think the Leo win is really underrated in a lot of people's minds. And it should be, I think, higher rated in terms of his resume. I think it's better than the Pedraza win, for example. Especially in terms of where Pedraza was at in his career. I think Pedraza has done far more since then. Digressing, though, there's at least 3 pound-for-pound guys in super flyweight.
Yeah. No, Again, I said, if he's not in the top 10, he's in the top 12. Like he's knocking on the door of pound for pound. He is.
We're gonna have to do that list, Gary, because
I'm just guessing. I have to. The list is tough. It's never been harder to make that list in the 30 years I've been watching boxing than it is right now. There's that many good fighters.
Liam is exactly right here. Liam is exactly right. Valdez over Patel is a better win compared to Davis over Barrios. Valdez should be in the top 10 pound for pound sooner than Gervonta Davis.
No way. Valdez has one win.
But his win is better than all the wins of John.
Is that a better win than Santa Cruz?
Yes.
So you're saying Patel is better than Santa Cruz?
We all thought that at the time.
Yeah, you're right. I did say that. It's one win though. On top of like all the dog crap fights he has, where he gets lucky to beat Adam Lopez, where he gets his jaw broken by Scott Quigg. Like that's one fight.
Hey, he still beat Scott Quigg, okay?
Keith Mullins beat Terry Norris, right? Like, did you put Keith Mullins on your pound for pound list? Like, it's one win.
Okay, let's say this.
God rest his soul. Keith Mullins passed away, by the way. Best upset victory ever. Keith Mullins. Had a record like 15-7. And he fought Raul Marquez real tough. Lost a close decision. And then Terry Norris was like, I'd give him a shot. And he knocked Terry Norris out.
Tank probably has a better resume at this point in time. The win, Valdez has a better win.
I guess you have to agree with that. Because especially me, I thought Perchelt was pound for pound. Like, there's been times I've had Perchelt on my list at 10 pound for pound. I thought Perchelt was really good.
Yeah. That's maybe a better way of angling it. Because like you said, Davis has 3 solid wins now. And he knocked them all out. Right? It's not like he got his jaw broken, had to come back. Like, no, he knocked them all out. Valdez has 2 good wins in terms of name value, right?
What's the other name value that he's got?
Scott Quigg.
Okay, quick. All right. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that was his only name of worth before the Bachelt fight. So I felt like we have to keep including it, right?
Yeah.
He was a former champion.
Yeah, no, I mean, so is Beefy, right? But like a lot of people are former champions that like
I think Liam Smith gets way too much hate in the boxing community, okay? Like when I talk about Canelo's resume, I include Liam Smith.
You don't have to do that anymore. He's got great names. You don't got to put Beefy Smith up there anymore.
Dude, I still add Khan to the list too, man. Just because.
Well, Khan, 2-division world champ, 3-time fight. He's got a lot. I mean, look, Khan is highly skilled, and Chris Algieri says he hits harder than Spence.
Dude, Liam Smith was a unification fight. They brought Amir Khan up to Kodo weight at 155 and knocked his ass out. Didn't they? Wasn't it the catch weight?
Yeah, it was catch weight.
I mean, come on,
right? Yeah,
come on, man.
Why did they? No one was calling for that fight. Like no one's like, you know what fight has to get made? Khan and Canelo. I didn't get that fight. Like why Khan?
Because it in their eyes was a money fight. The same reason why Crawford took it.
It was the same with Kell Brook when he fought Triple G. Nobody was clamoring for that fight. Like there were plenty of great fights they could have made at 60 or 68.
Well, as you remember,
but they came up 2 weight classes. Like, that didn't make any sense to me.
As you remember, Gary, okay, there's supposed to be Chris Eubank Jr. fighting Triple G on that card.
I take Brook.
Exactly.
But it's like, that's a false dichotomy. There aren't just 2 fighters. Like, there's a plethora of good fighters.
No, Gary. Only those 2. That's it. When we're talking about Crawford,
those are the only guys he can beat. Like, Triple G's resume is a good resume. It's not a pound for pound elite resume. It really isn't. He's one of the great middleweights, like he's Hagler or Hopkins. His resume ain't that. I'm not saying his resume is trash. It's not trash. Okay? It's not an all-time great resume.
So are we going to say that about Crawford too?
I mean, I guess. I mean, look, if Crawford ends right now, he's a Hall of Famer. Like the same way Chris Mullins is a Hall of Famer. He's not a Hall of Famer the way LeBron James is a Hall of Famer.
If Triple G retires right now, he's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer. He is. The same way that Chris Mullins is a Hall of Famer. Not the same way LeBron James is a Hall of Famer. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I love Crawford. I want to give Crawford the benefit of the doubt, but like, you can't say he's one of the great welterweights. Obviously, you can't say he's one of the great lightweights. Like, you can't say Duran, Mosley, Whitaker, and Crawford. He doesn't have the resume to support that.
IA in the chat saying guys like Charlo, and I wonder which Charlo. Better Beef AJ came and get in the pound for pound. Well, Better Beef might be able to get in. AJ shouldn't, because the only heavyweight that's probably deserving the pound for pound is Tyson Fury at this point in time.
Usyk.
Oh, because he's a heavyweight now. Yeah, I mean, that's probably technically true. Though, he's like Crawford. They're slowly going down my list. I'll be honest.
Usyk's going down your list for beating top 10 heavyweights. That's what he's moving down your list for?
Which top 10 heavyweight did he beat?
Ish. Top 10-ish.
Gary, man, you said that with like your whole chest, man. You were like, he beat top 10 heavyweights, and you're like putting him down your ranking. I'm like, Chisora?
Chisora's a good heavyweight.
He's a top 15 guy.
I mean, the heavyweight division's good now. Yeah, I mean, in a normal in 2007, he's top 5. This era's tough. There's good heavyweights now. There's a lot of good heavyweights.
But Benavidez was like a top 15 welterweight at the time when Crawford fought him. Right?
Based on potential. He didn't really have any wins. He had one good win. Like, putting him in the top 15 is like Devin Haney. Like, okay, I see why you like him, but he hadn't really beaten anybody yet. Like, Haney's got one good win.
Anyways, we're going to have to do that pound for pound list for sure. Maybe the next show we'll debate that, Gary.
We want to get Rob, because Rob loves that debate. Rob loves that conversation.
Dude, Rob's never coming back if we do that show.
Rob has to come back for Joshua Usyk. I don't care. At least one show, at least one cameo. Rob, you have to come back for that.
Just for like 2 minutes, Rob.
Just
like 2 minutes. Like, I know you're the big time now, but like, come join us, plebes, and help us out. Digressing, Gary. Any other thought on Davis Barrios? Pay-per-view buy rate? Any guess?
I'm not telling you. I'm going to say 150.
Yeah. I felt like it was a decent buzz, though, for a fight.
I mean, I'm in that community, so it was.
It's in the bubble.
Yeah. That's the family. The whole family lost this week. The whole family.
Yeah, it sucks, man. Co-main event. Also, speaking of losing, Rosario got his ass kicked in that 6th round. Got knocked out. Is Rosario like a hype job?
No, he's not a hype job. He's just flawed. He's good. He can still beat guys. He's good. But I think Lubin has arrived. Like, I think it was more Lubin telling of Lubin. Look, Rosario is not a bum. Everyone in that division can beat each other. Rosario is good. But I think Lubin is emerging now.
Gary, I'm going to be real pessimistic on this fight. Even though it was a good fight. I enjoyed the fight. Like, I'm happy that Lubin won. Like, Lubin's a good guy. But I feel like Rosario has shown a, like, Achilles heel, which is his body, which can get hit at any time because he's, like, 6'4" in the division. Clearly, he can get finished because all of his losses have been via KO. And I think Lubin as well is hiding a relatively weak chin behind really good boxing ability and some good power as well.
We got to find out more about his chin, right? Like, we all questioned J-Rock's chin when he got iced by Charlo, but his chin's pretty good, right? Like, it stood up to Hurd. Let's find out about. Maybe you're right. Maybe he's got a Michigan chin. I don't know. I'm not ready to say that because he got knocked out once. But like, his skills will keep him in fights. Whether or not he wins those fights, I don't know, because that division is so competitive, right? That division is like the Western Conference playoffs right now. It's like anyone can really win. If you play it back, you probably get a different outcome.
Yeah. I think that's largely true. Except for like maybe the top 2 or 3 guys, or 2 guys now, right? A lot of the legit talent has left the division. But like Charlo Castano, I think beat both Rosario and Lubin. Like knock them both out.
If you told me J-Rock outboxed Charlo and won a decision, I'd say, yeah, that's possible. If you told me Charlo knocked out J-Rock, I'd say, yeah, that's likely. Like, you guys talk about J-Rock like he's a bum. J-Rock's not a bum because he got beat up by Rosario.
No. I think J-Rock absolutely will beat up Rosario in a rematch. I will bet something on that. I think J-Rock will beat up Rosario in a rematch.
Oh, the one kind of saving grace of this weekend was that my boy Nathaniel Gallimore finally won. I pick that guy every time he fights. And I was at a fight, and Leon Lawson is from Flint, Michigan, and Anthony Durrell was there. And Anthony Durrell was like big up with him the whole time, saying how good he is.
Yes, Gary.
You guys think he was impressive? He lost to Nathaniel Gallimore. But how long have I been in the Gallimore? Gallimore win every fight. I picked him to beat Fundora. I picked him to beat everybody. Finally, he gets a win.
Hey, don't talk shit about Gallimore. He knocked out Rosario too.
He did knock out and Deloach. And then
yeah,
kind of fell apart. I'm not knocking Gallimore. I was being Gallimore's biggest supporter. I picked him to beat Fundora. It didn't happen.
Sounds like some hate. Sounds like some haters. Anyway, do you want the winner of Charlo Castano to fight Lubin? Is that just like the natural fight next?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
What about Rosario? Where does he go now in terms of tune up?
I told you, with one champion, this division is tough because let him go fight. What's the Olympic Goucher? If he beats Goucher, he can advance. If he loses to Goucher, he's out. Right? Like Goucher is the new guy. He's the new. Although Goucher fought.
Dude, Goucher just got an awesome knockout win against what's his name? I can't remember who he fought, but he looked fantastic against with his new trainer, Manny Robles.
Oh, which is such a weird. You're right. I forgot about that.
Dude, Goucher knocks out
Rosario. A weird pairing, but I think I like it. I think I like it.
Man, that's so mean. I feel like so mean, Gary. Trying to pull a box right now to see anyone else that would make more sense that wouldn't be mean to Rosario, because like your Rosario's never gonna be back in boxing after that. Like that's 3 losses in a row, all by knockout, guaranteed. Michael Zafara, get the stripper out.
Let him fight Kell Brook. He beat Javante Clark, is who he beat.
This is 2 KO losses in a row. Like Rosario can take a tune-up, man. Like it's okay. He doesn't need to have a, loser goes home sort of fight. Like no, take a tune-up. Like he's a young guy. Like he's talented. He's a former champion, former unified champion, right? Mm-hmm. Is he unified? Right? He was unified, right? Yeah. Let me go beat up like Robin's boy Anthony Fowler. That's the
Rob
easy
loves those guys. Fowler, Cheeseman, they're all the same person. Rob, what's the other one's name?
No, dude, I got the perfect tune-up. If I'm like Al Heyman, this is the guy I bring in for the tune-up for Rosario. Spike O'Sullivan.
He can take a beating. Scott Fitzgerald's the other one. They're all, like Fitzgerald, Fowler, and Cheeseman are all the same person in my book.
Liam over in Australia is reminding us that Zoo versus Zafara is next week. We'll show Zoo is more than ready for world titles. I think he's already shown that, to be quite honest. Like I think Zoo's a top 10 guy, to be quite honest.
Zoo versus Charles Conwell. Who you got?
Zoo.
I got Conwell. I think Conwell is the best guy in that division already. He just needs to prove it. Yeah, I think Conwell's not good.
You thought Barrios was going to knock out Tank Davis, then knock out.
I did not say knock out. I said he wins on points.
I know. Let me just tell my story, okay? Anyways, Batter Akhmadov picked up a win as well against Argenis Mendez. Looked quite well. Ludin Bartholomew lost. I don't really care. Carlos Adames picked up a win in the third round against Alexis Salazar. He looked decent. I still think he looks basic. You know what I mean? Like Carlos Adames is always going to be just kind of a basic top 15-ish fighter.
Look, Ben, he wasn't with Robert Garcia. I don't know if that was because Garcia was elsewhere, but he wasn't with Garcia. He had a different trainer.
No, I think he switched trainers.
Did he?
Well, he switched, promoter, he switched trainers.
Yeah.
Like, he switched everything, it looks like.
Garcia was screaming at Biggie to get going. And Biggie, I don't know if it's too much time in California or he just smokes a lot of weed, but he's just like, I don't want to say lazy because he's just chill. Like, he's California chill. It's like, you're going to lose, and that top-ranked deal is going to go away. He's like, all right, man, well, this is how I fight. Like, Garcia was screaming out, like, you got to get going. You're losing everything. And Biggie's like, if I can't set him up with a big left hand, like, I'm going to lose. Like, what do you want from me? Like, throw some more punches, get going. Like, this is a 6-round fight. You got to get going. And it's like, I'll try to land a left hand, bro. Like,
also on the card, Andreas Gutierrez had a split draw with Angel Hernandez. Dalton Bodie picked up a win against Trevor Bradshaw. And Stacy Selby picked up a win against William Smith. Gary, any other thoughts on that card?
No. Outside of the main event, that wasn't a great card.
Whoa. Top 3 fights were pretty good. I like Akhmedov. The
Akhmedov yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, I thought Akhmedov looked good. Mendez is 1,000 years old. He's still a savvy pro. I get it. It's good, but like Akhmedov versus Mendez, does that move the needle for you?
It's all right for a guy that's like coming off of like his second like comeback fight in a sense from his first loss. Like, yeah. I don't mind.
No, I don't mind the fight. I'm just saying it doesn't jump out at me like that's a fight I gotta watch.
Mendez is like a notch, a very small notch below like Fortuna, in my opinion. Or like he's always just gonna be a durable veteran.
Yeah.
Until like he just stops fighting. That's how I see it. But yeah, I thought the co-main was good, and I like to see Carlos Adames again. But that's about it. The anything else on that card was trash. Moving on, the other big event of the weekend, Lomachenko's return from his second professional loss to Teofimo Lopez, fighting Masayushi Nakatani. And I thought this fight, I think Gary, picked Nakatani, if I remember correctly.
I think Matt picked him too.
No.
Oh, all right.
I think just you, Gary. I could be wrong.
I was expecting to win. What are you going to do?
But I expected it to be a lot more competitive.
I did too. I thought it was going to be a really good fight. I didn't really know if he's going to win. I did pick him, so. But I'm also picking Plant to beat Canelo. I don't really think he's going to win.
Yeah, but Lomachenko fucking.
Yeah, Lomachenko looked great. Lomachenko looked like he was all the way back.
He dog walked Nakatani. Like, this was a vintage performance. I thought he was going to Nomas him again. I thought he was going to Lomachenko him again, and it didn't happen, obviously.
He's not quitting. Nakatani's not quitting.
Dude, but his face was messed up, man. And Loma's angles are perfect. I mean, it's, again, a vintage performance. Whatever you heard about Lomachenko in terms of his technical ability and his wizardry and all that stuff, it was on display on Saturday night. It was fantastic. It made me excited for the Lopez rematch, which is most likely going to happen, first quarter of next year, if I had to assume. I
just want him to knock out Kambosos. This is our generation's AJ versus Pulev. Like, I get it has to happen, but can we just get this fight? This fight is just hanging up and hanging up and hanging up. We know he's not going to win. Just knock him out and just, like, fight tomorrow. Like, as soon as he's clear from COVID, just fight each other. And then we'll just move on. Like, there's no reason. Like, I get he has to fight him. I get it. And Kambosos earned his mandatory by beating Selby. Like, I can't be mad about it. But, like, does anyone think Kambosos has any shot at winning the fight? Of course not.
No, but the fact that you said this is this generation. AJ Pulev. Oh, my God. Anyways. No, I don't think anyone's picking Kambosos except for maybe Liam Roscoe, who's from Australia, who's in our chat. Maybe he's picking it, but maybe we're all savvy enough to know what's going to go on there.
What's the difference between Australia and New Zealand anyway?
They're different countries, Gary.
Yeah, I know, but like, are they really? Like, are Norway and Sweden different countries? Really?
Is Germany and Austria a different country? See, Gary.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything disparaging about the German people, so I'll just say I really like Austrian people. So I don't want to say anything disparaging about German people.
Germans are very nice people, Gary. They're not mean with no sense of humor. Not at all, Gary. Oh, what are you talking about? Digressing. As we just disparage an entire nation. It's Germany, though. Who cares? Lomachenko, I cannot wait for that Lopez rematch. I do believe that, I'll be honest, Gary, even though we've been on the Lopez hype train for some time, especially since the Loma win, I'm conflicted about predicting that rematch. Because if this Loma showed up instead of the Loma that showed up last year, it's a different night. It is, Gary. It is.
Stops him in the rematch.
I don't know, Gary. This was.
I don't think the first fight was that close. Like, they're talking about it could have been 115, 113 either way. What fight were y'all watching? He gave away the first 7 rounds, and then he won like 3 in the middle, and then he got his ass kicked in the 12th. Like, what? No, that fight wasn't that close. Like, Lopez won 9 rounds in that fight, 8-9 rounds in that fight. Like, it wasn't close.
Gary, the first 6 or 7 rounds of that fight, little happened.
And he lost every single round. He did nothing.
I don't. There's only about 3 or 4 rounds that like were dominant in any fashion, and half of them, Loma was dominant.
That's true. Lopez rallied after, I guess it was like 8, 9. He put some good rounds together.
Plus, there is the shoulder injury. Not to quote. Also,
no, I'm not giving him any credit for that.
Hey man, what about Pacquiao? Mayweather Pacquiao too.
He had a sick. I think he broke his toe. No, that was David Hay.
And he was scared of needles, Gary. Come on, man. He was
scared of needles, but he's got 5 tattoos. I get it. No, I get it. Him and Spence agreed not to do VADA testing, if I understand that correctly, which means, what does that mean? Yeah, we all know what it means.
Do we care?
No, if you agree to it, you agree to it. Like, you know me, I'm all about voluntary mutual agreements. You agree not to take the test, and you both agree to it. That's fine.
Digressing though, Loma looked fantastic. I don't know if he's going to take a tune-up before the Lopez fight. He probably does. I don't know who it would be. Maybe like Richard Comey. I don't know. But most likely I see him taking another fight in the fall. Gary, also on the card, Zanabek Alamakulia, I believe I pronounced that. No, I probably mispronounced that. That's fine. Fought and beat Rob Brandt in a fight that I lost in terms of my prediction.
I lost it too. I didn't see the fight. I saw a little beat. I had to go back and watch everything. I missed most stuff. Although I understand. How are we saying his name this week? Jabek?
Zanabek.
Okay, I heard that he was dominant. He looked dominant in a little bit that I did watch. But I got to go back and watch that fight.
No, he looked real good. I'll be honest. He looked real good. He's ready for that top 10-ish, in my opinion. Absolutely. Because he beat, a top 10 guy in Rob Brandt.
Yeah.
Like, he's
Brandt's good. Brandt's professional.
Absolutely. Obviously, your boy, Jaime Hasso, lost to Floyd Diaz. Robert Rodriguez lost to Luis Fernando Savaraja. Giovanni Santilline beat Cecil McCalla. DeMichael Harris defeated Johatin Godoy.
That kid's good. He's raw. He gets hit too much, but there's talent in that kid. I know he's only 3 fights in, but that's someone who could have world championship pedigree if he progresses. Like that kid's good. And so is the Japanese kid who fought in the opener, whose name I can't say.
Super Murata.
Yeah, that guy's good, man.
Subaru.
Subaru's his first name, like the car.
It can't be the car. It can't be the car name, can it?
Why can't it? It's a Japanese car.
Is it the same spelling?
I don't know, but like there could be a guy named Ford. Like what's like? It's Subaru's probably a name.
Is it?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm making sure, Gary. That's what I'm making sure. It is. It is Subaru. Okay, Subaru Murata, who's now 1-0.
That guy's good. Like, it's his first fight, but see, that's a pro debut, Rob. Not that thing that Ricky Hatton Jr. did. Okay, that's a pro debut from a fighter with skills.
Digress. Any other thoughts on that card, Gary? Before we move on, you're muted. It's okay.
That's the kid that did the mitt work when he was like 7 years old on the 24/7 Mayweather Mosley, I think it was. What do you guys think of him?
Who?
Floyd Diaz.
Oh, Floyd Diaz. I thought he looked good. I thought it was a good fight too. Like I thought, it was a good back and forth scrap before,
Yeah, it's tough having Jaime Hassel in his third pro fight, fighting a guy like that who's faster than him because he didn't really know. Like Jaime's obviously accustomed to being the faster guy, and when he wasn't, he really. And I thought he fought well, but he lost all the rounds. But I thought he was competitive in the fight, but it's just Diaz was better, and it's a tough fight to put him in 3 fights in. But them kids from Laredo, they fight anybody. And either you're gonna win and you're gonna like Cass Nader beat Otha Jones, kid from Laredo, or you're gonna lose, right? So, but they're willing to fight anybody. Hasso's a kid. I think he's 18 years old, 19 years old. He's got a future.
Also, on Saturday night on DAZN, Julio Cesar Martinez and Joel Cordova put on a really good scrap. I didn't think Martinez was how to describe it. I thought he was lazy in the fight. I thought he let his defense down throughout the entire showing. I'm assuming he just didn't feel any power from Cordova, really. And was like, fuck this. I'm just going to show off. I'm in Mexico. I'm going to have fun.
They had sparred together. They knew each other really well. And it seemed like Martinez, like, I'm not really going to train or prepare myself. I'm just going to land something big eventually. And then I'll just knock him out. Like, that's kind of what it looked like, right? Like, I'm not going to say it was a bad performance by Martinez, but it was kind of blah. Like, he was just...
It was a fun fight because Martinez made it more competitive than it had to be, of course. But it was not Martinez's best performance, that's for sure.
No, but that the zone crew with they still had Grisham who's not good, but they had Jesse Vargas and someone else. Who was the British guy they had on?
Oh, Chris Lord.
Okay,
Rob's boy.
Those guys were good. Like if you could just get Grissom again, get Grissom another job with the company and get another
guillotine him.
I don't like to say to fire people, get rid of them. Like, there's something else he can do at the company, and then get another play-by-play guy in with Lloyd and Vargas. Like, they did good. Like, and I love the Latin Snake, Mora. He seems like a great guy to watch the fight with. He's just not really good at adding color. You know what I'm saying? Like, he seems like a great guy, a really nice guy, a fun guy. He's just not great at this.
Mora seems fun.
Sergio Mora? Yeah. You don't think so?
No.
All right.
That guy seems like not the life of the party. I'll just say that. I'll just say that, man. I'll just say
all right, we got a different opinion on him. All
right. Daniel Matalone defeated Jose Argumedo in a really good fight as well. And Diego Pacheco picked up a win on the undercard. And that's about it from people that I know.
Hang on. It was what was what did you think of Pacheco? I want to look him up real quick.
He looked bad. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed either.
No, he looked slow, sluggish.
Eddie loves him, but I didn't really see the big deal.
Yeah, he's had way better performances, I think, in the past. But I don't know. I've heard some stories about him in terms of like extracurricular activities, and maybe not being real focused, and maybe that's why he looked sluggish in the ring.
Okay. Do you have stories?
I'm not going to say them on air. And
Okay.
who told me those stories? But yes,
But we can. You can tell me off air.
yeah, yeah. I'll tell you off air. I'll tell you off air.
And then, what's the Christian?
Sorry, I had it up. Where did it
No,
go?
Christian. Yeah.
Christian Alan Gomez Duran and Jorge Perez Sanchez. That fight.
This Christian Alan Gomez guy, he's something to watch. That's Canelo's boy that fought on the Canelo undercard, um, at Cowboy Stadium. This guy is good. Like, he knows how to use his power. He knows how to set it up. I'm not saying he's going to be a world champion, but he's going to cause a lot of problems in the 140-pound division. Like, he's got real power and he knows how to use it. Again, he's flawed. I get it, but
No. It's funny how like Boxrec has all the fights pending except for the top two. Have you noticed that? Did you go on Boxrec for the card?
No, I was trying to pull it up and I couldn't find it.
Gary, come on, man. Come on.
That's what.
We're gonna move on though, Gary, just for the sake of time. Also, on Friday, there was a ESPN Plus card with, was it Frank Warren? No, it was MTK, right? There's MTK card.
It was MTK, and there's so many.
The promoter is.
I forgot this was. I watched it. I know Pierce O'Leary won. He looked good. I don't remember. What was the main event?
It was Jay Harris and Ricardo Sandoval, and Ricardo Sandoval picked up a win and knocked out.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Sandoval won. You're right.
Yeah, that was a good fight.
You gotta stop fighting the Mexicans, guys. It's not a good look for y'all. It's not working out for you guys. Stop it.
Jose Burton looked good against Liam Conroy, and Paul Butler looked all right.
Oh yeah, Paul Butler looked good. Paul Butler's really good. Manny Rodriguez.
Perez. There's probably different people that I remember. There's a bunch of other guys in the car, like Gary Cully, Tyrone McCullough, and I guess other people.
Pierce O'Leary is a really good 140-pound prospect. As good or better than that guy that Rob loves, Dalton Smith. This guy's good. Really? Yeah.
Okay. Go tell Rob that.
I've told him. He doesn't like that comment. He laughs at it.
Also, David Morrell on Sunday fought as well on Fox for PBC. This
is the one that beats Canelo. This is the one that dethrones Canelo.
I don't know if I'm going to go that far yet, but I cannot wait for that fight to happen in, what, 2 or 3 years?
2 years, yeah.
Because Morrell's probably going to fight someone like a Durrell brother next.
He's fighting John Ryder next, according to Eddie Hearn.
Oh, really?
According by the WBA, yeah.
Even though, Eddie Hearn's not his promoter. Is not.
But he's saying the WBA is ordering it. Now, again, he doesn't have to take it, right?
True.
Eddie Hearn tweeted that the Gilberto Mendoza? What's the name of the president of WBA?
Yeah. Gilberto Mendoza, yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. Gilberto Mendoza was ordering the negotiations to begin. Now, he can say, I don't want it. He's got some interim belt. Like, I don't think he probably cares that much about it. Like,
he has the regular belt.
Is it the regular belt?
It's the regular belt now.
Oh, well, then he has to fight Ryder then. Fight Ryder.
He had the interim belt against Lennox Allen, and then didn't fight for it against Mike Gravonsky, and then picked up the WBA regular belt, obviously at 168 against Cazares. So, I mean, look, his boxing was on point. I thought how he adapted to the dirty work of Cazares was quite indicative of something.
Yeah.
That he's ready for the top level. Because the second he started getting roughed around a little bit, he did it right back to Cazares and did it better. And then established enough range to land his shots and obviously knocked him the fuck out in the first round. I'm excited for him. Like I'm real. Like, I'll be honest, Gary, I wasn't high on him like you were until Sunday, and then I'm like, oh no, he's really good. Like, he could beat top 10 guys right now. Easy.
See, Louis DeCuber says it could be a job over at PBC, and I'll find the talent. I'll find the young kids. I'll tell you what fighters to sign. But no, I think I don't think Morrell's going to beat Canelo yet. Maybe never. Like who knows? But like he's getting there. Like he's 5 fights in. He's 5 fights in. He's going to beat John Ryder, and he might be able to beat anyone in that division besides Canelo and Plant. Already 5 fights in. Benavidez. All right, let's do that. I don't know if he's ready for Benavidez, but he might be.
No. Do a step up. He's only 5.
Ryder, which I think is a good step up. It feels a mandatory, and it's a step up. Ryder's a good fighter. Beat Ryder, blow Ryder out, and then fight Benavidez after that.
Or just drop the belt and fight like a Durrell brother, which is better in my opinion.
I tweeted at Anthony Durrell that he should fight Morrell next. It's like he's had 4 fights. Okay, so fight him. You just lost to Kieran Davis, bro. Fight Kieran Davis. Like Davis deserves another shot.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be
good. They scored it a draw. Yeah, they scored it a draw. But Kieran Davis won that fight.
Also on the PBC on Fox card, F.A. Apache lost to Brandon Clayton in sort of a back and forth cruiserweight fight. Omar Juarez losing to Al Rivera in a back and forth fight as well. Leon Lawson the third lost to Nathaniel Gallimore. Alontes Fox picked up a win on the undercard. And that's about it from people that I know. But Atif Oberton picked up a win against Jasper McCargo. Vashon Owens picked up a win against Joseph Francisco. Trevon Marshall picked up a win against Ruben Torres. And Angel Chavez picked up a win against Arsenio Hall.
That's his real name, too.
That's his real name. He's 2-3. He's now 2-4.
I saw the first 4 rounds of the Apache fight, and I thought I had a 2-2. It was good action. But then I went back and I was talking to Omar and his team after the fight. So I didn't really watch much of the second half of the Apache fight. And I heard I missed a heck of a fight.
Sufi in the chat is saying, I'm guessing Matt likes the Lakers more than the Clippers. It's fun to listen to while watching the game. Yes, I despise the Clippers with a passion.
How do you despise the Clippers? Like, they're the Clippers. Like,
no,
they've never been to the Western Conference Finals before. This is their first time ever.
I don't care. They need to leave the city.
They should go back to San Diego. They should be San Diego Clippers. Plus, it makes more sense.
Or at least Orange County. There's a Honda Center right there.
Yeah.
I mean, and you still keep your fan base in LA. You're good.
If they move to Anaheim, would you call them the Anaheim Clippers or would you still call them the LA Clippers?
No, the LA Clippers of Anaheim. Yeah. Remember, like they did the
Angels. Yeah, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Right?
Oh my God!
But then you have the hockey team is called Anaheim. The Anaheim Ducks, right? They're called Anaheim, I think. Allegedly, I believe. I'm told.
I don't know, Gary.
I don't know either. Anaheim Ducks.
I don't like hockey. I mean, Anaheim's an all right area. Like it's fine. It's more spread out than downtown, and plus you have big teams over there already. Like it's already a sporting culture over there, and there's no basketball team. Send them over there. We're good. We got the Kings here. We got the Lakers here. We got the Dodgers here. Send the Angels, Ducks, and Clippers over to OC. There you go. And then you get all 3 major sports in a cross county rivalry.
Yeah, I mean,
and all the lame Clipper fans can leave. They can just go to Orange County. They can move.
When you say all the Clipper fans, you mean both of them?
No, come on, Gary. It's changed. You know that. Ever since,
I guess so. But the Lakers just won a championship last year. So who's a Clipper fan? The kid from Malcolm in the Middle, and that's it, right?
Now there's still a lot of Clipper fans. I still see a lot of people rocking Clipper jerseys. Ever since when they had Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, when they had that era,
Lob City,
they had so many fans. I mean, they were better than the Lakers at the time.
The Lakers had a little, after the end of the Kobe era when he was hurt all the time, and then post Kobe, yeah, they were bad for a while, so they got LeBron.
Dude, I mean, the Lakers were a laughing stock. It was hard to go to Laker games and see what was happening on the court. It was so pathetic. So the Clippers have a lot of fans, and it'll change. Once they get
Once
Maybe they get
Damian
past.
Lillard goes to the Lakers, I don't know how that can work financially, like how they can fit that in the cap.
Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Fuck the
But you have to be able to make it work. Like you have to match the contracts. But that's the rumors. Like I don't know how. Again, I'm not the best contract guy at the cap and how all that works. But I can't see how you can have all three of those guys under one cap. I don't get it.
Well, just get rid of Anthony Davis. You're fine.
Anthony Davis. Nuts.
Just get rid of him. I'm good with that. Or get rid of LeBron. Like I don't care either way. Get Dame here.
Let's get rid of LeBron. He's not very good.
Just get Dame here, please. Like, that's all I want.
Dame is more fun to watch. Dame's probably the most fun guy in the whole league to watch. I think Davis and
you know
LeBron,
I lived in I lived in Oregon obviously for like almost 2 years. And Portland was like a hour and a half, 2 hour drive. So we would always go to the city for Blazer games. Dame is one of the best players to watch in the league, hands down. And he's one of the best players in the league, hands down. So, yeah, I can get rid of one of.
But he hit the three against Oklahoma City when Paul George was in Oklahoma City, and Paul George goes in the press conference. It wasn't a good shot, and Westbrook is looking at him like, "What are you talking about? He hits that shot all the time. Why are you guard him?" Because he let him take a 35-foot 3-pointer at the buzzer to lose the series, and Paul George is like, "That's a bad shot. It's not a good shot." It's like he hits it all the time. What? Why is it not a good shot?
I'll be honest. I just wish Dame gets out of Portland because clearly
they love him there, though. Like
they do, but I'm telling you, man, that team is shit. It's always shit around him. I mean, he is like honestly probably the only player in the league that gives me Kobe vibes.
So, like, here's the thing with Portland,
and they have no one around him.
Team that does great at building internally, but they can't bring in the top-notch free agents. They got Carmelo because no one else wanted Carmelo at that time, right? But they can't bring in another star to play with Lillard. So this is like second round, first round loss as good as they're going to be because they can build a decent team, but they can't get over that hump because, like, James Harden, do you want to play for Portland? No. Like, like Anthony Davis, you want to come to Portland? No. It's the same kind of problem Utah has. It's like trying to get someone to play with Mitchell now is going to be a tough sell because you want to come to Salt Lake City? Not really. Like, I'd rather go to a big market.
MC Treasure in the chat saying he has CJ McCollum and he used to have Aldridge. I'll say this: McCollum is a really good shooting guard.
Aldridge has been gone for how long though?
No. Hold on. Let me finish. McCollum is a good shooting guard, but he's not great. He's not a great secondary player to have with Dame. Aldridge is the bigger version of Paul George. And I think that speaks for itself.
Aldridge is really good, but like it wasn't prime Lillard playing with a prime Aldridge. It was Aldridge playing with like a rookie. Like Aldridge would be a great player to have now, but obviously he left. Because it's tough to get people to come to Portland. Like, they're a great basketball organization. And, like, when they're bad quickly and they turn it around, they're a playoff team again. But they can't really get over that hump now in the era of the super team because no one wants to really sign there. You're not going to get superstars signed there.
Sufi is going back to a point about Clipper fans saying Kawhi didn't create more Clipper fans. Yes, he did. That signing definitely helped. But then they kind of sucked. So kind of tampered the expectations like the last couple of years. Digressing though, back to combat sports.
Would
Gary.
you make this trade? Kyrie for Kawhi Leonard straight up.
No.
See, here I would make it. I'd rather have Kawhi by a lot. But if Kawhi becomes unhappy,
you already have KD though, right? Am I wrong on that?
You can match those two guys together.
No, you can't.
The Nets are unhappy with Kyrie because he acts like Kyrie Irving. He's a hell of a player, but he just doesn't want to play all the time. And Leonard, after they lose to Phoenix tonight, is gonna be, I'm out of here because that's Kawhi Leonard. So just swap those two. If you're the Clippers and I offer you Kyrie Irving, isn't that value? Don't you have to take that even if you lose? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to take it because Kawhi's going to demand to be traded anyway. If I'm giving you Kyrie, you have to take it.
No, I'm sorry. That's a bad trade
for the Clippers.
I mean, I don't think it's a decent trade all around. Like, if I'm the Nets or the Clippers, I don't want. I'm not making that trade straight up like that. No.
Both teams are going to be in the market of moving a superstar. Like, why not just?
Nah, I don't see that happening. No. I mean, Kyrie is more likely to end up on the Lakers than the Clippers, in my opinion.
The Lakers for who? Like, you're gonna put Kyrie back with LeBron?
Yes, let's do it, please. Please, let's do it.
I wanted to watch it implode.
The only person I ever really wanted in the past, I want to say 5-6 years. The only person I really wanted to see on the Lakers team was DeMar DeRozan, just because he's from the area.
He's from LA? DeRozan?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And he's obviously that never happened. He went to, I think, was it UCLA or USC?
I think he went to USC. You're right. Yeah.
He's from the area. I think he's from Compton. I think he's from either Compton or Carson. He's a local guy.
Good player.
He's a good player, but
I like him.
Didn't come. Anyways, back to boxing, Gary. That's it for fights this last weekend. Let's get through a couple news items and then head out of here. Manny Pacquiao, Earl Spence. It may not happen, Gary. It may not happen. One of Pacquiao's management companies, Paradigm Sports, also the management company of Conor McGregor, and a few other big-time fighters. They've sought an injunction to block the fight because they've said they have given Pacquiao a massive advance on his purse. I think it was numbering around, $5 million in total advancement given to him and MP Promotions to make the Pacquiao-Mikey Garcia fight. That fight, in their minds, was going to be announced shortly. Obviously, it didn't, and we got the Spence announcement by Pacquiao and Sean Gibbons. If you want to see any of the legal documentation, homie RJ Wolf on Twitter, he posted all of the documents if you want to go read them if you're a nerd like that. Gary, thoughts on this lawsuit from a major management company against Manny Pacquiao?
Can he buy himself out of it? I mean, will they allow him to buy himself out of it? I don't know. I still think the fight's going to get made because there's so much money to be made in the fight. It is a big fight. It's the biggest fight, I think, south of the heavyweight division. So, is it bigger than the Canelo fight? I don't know. But besides Canelo and besides the heavyweight, it's a big, there's a ton of money made in this fight. It's a big fight. And both guys agreed to it. I think it's going to get made. I don't know how big of a hurdle this is. Will they throw this thing away if you just – can you buy yourself out of it? I don't know. And how much say does Mikey Garcia have in this? It's just – so that Terrence Crawford fight was never going to happen, right? That Pacquiao-Crawford fight was never going to happen. It's not that Spence stole your fight. It's that you were never going to get the fight.
We're going to talk about that in the next topic because Crawford has been linked to an opponent now.
Wow.
And I remember Rob saying the three names that were given by Top Rank to Crawford, none of them were Pacquiao. Right?
No. It was, yeah.
No. But digressing back to Pacquiao for a second, to isolate that, you don't think this lawsuit's going to end up anywhere? I mean, they've said they've given Pacquiao $5 million. They want that money back. That's $5 million.
He took the money and then plus this guy should be. This guy is a politician. He took the money and then fought Spence, right? You can't do that. I don't know. Will they just take their money back? I don't know. I don't.
I'll say this as well. This is just me maybe throwing some shade on this person I don't like, but this person also has a horrible reputation in the industry. Was this Sean Gibbons pocketing that money? and sort of being a sort of a dishonest manager and talking with the other management company for Pacquiao, pocketing the money they gave to MP Promotions, and Pacquiao himself made the fight with Spence, trying to collect money on both ends. I mean, it is Sean Gibbons, of course, one of the most notorious managers in the sport of boxing. Gary, come on. I know you like the tinfoil hat theories. Come on.
I wouldn't rule anything out. I mean, I don't know that happened. I wouldn't start ruling things out. It's it is certainly possible that happened. Something is really weird about this, right? Like, we'll see. I don't really know. Like, I don't.
Look, that number is massive, man. I think some of it was earmarked for MP Promotion. I think the exact number, you guys can look in the legal documents and check it out. I think it was like 3 and 2 million, or it was like 4 million for MP Promotions, but digressing. It was a lot. And I don't know. It's just odd to me. But let's get to the last topic, Gary, which I know you're excited to talk about because it's your boy, Jose Cepeda. Most likely.
Cepeda, my boy.
You've always liked Cepeda.
I do. I like Cepeda.
Yeah, why are you trying to distance yourself?
I don't know. I'd call him my boy. Like that little meme you sent me where the next one up is Jazzy Dickens, right? Like,
yeah, oh my God. Hold on. Let me get those memes out. Hold on, Gary. All right. Hold on. Talk about Terrence Crawford and your boy Cepeda most likely fighting.
Well, now because Cepeda's my boy. Oh, we also never talked about Guido, my boy Guido, who looked good. He scored a second round knockout.
Whatever.
This is an embarrassment at this point. This is who you're supposed to be, the best welterweight in the world, a pound for pound cat. You are the pound for pound number one guy, and you're fighting Cepeda. After fighting Kell Brook, after fighting Amir Khan, after fighting Mean Machine. It's like, this is unacceptable. And you could have fought Porter, but you didn't want to make him a real offer. And then you could have, like, there are real fights you could have gotten. You could have fought Virgil Ortiz. And I said he's fighting Mean Machine. This is the fight you get. This is the fight you want. Is Cepeda, a 140 pounder who's never been a world champion. Like, it doesn't even. I like Josh Franco's eye.
That's a good one, right? That was good. Mario Barrios, Omar Juarez, poor guys. They had to go, and then next, Jazzy Dickens, man.
Because I said Jazzy Dickens is vastly improved, and I pick him to win.
He's not being Kid Galahad. Get the fuck out of here.
The first fight was close till he ran out of steam in the later rounds, and it was the first time he fought a 12-round fight. He just ran out of steam. Like, I think he's better, and I think he's a more complete fighter, and Galahad's just a more experienced version of the old fighter.
Okay, Gary. It's okay, man. It's okay. Don't worry. I'll make sure food, the one I made for food, too.
Mario Barrios could be fine. I said Mario Barrios will be a world champion again, and Rob goes an interim champion.
And here's Foogatti, looking at his love of his life, Lomachenko.
Good performance by Lomachenko.
I need to make ones about Rob now. Fuck. Why didn't I do that? I'll do that next. Digressing, though, back to the topic. Crawford, Cepeda. This is like the worst fight they could have found, right, Gary? Like, this is literally the worst one that they could have thought of. That's an in-house fight.
Yeah, this is about as bad as it gets. It's an embarrassment for to have a guy at Crawford's level, Crawford's age, that this is the fight that you take. You know, he's at the end of his prime without a career-defining win. And then after Brook...
Whoa. Julius Ndongo, man. Come on.
Ndongo, it's an embarrassment. Like, this is... I always get on PBC for not getting Laura that fight. But they got him a Canelo fight. I know that was Golden Boy, but, like...
Same thing. It was Heyman.
Yeah. This is ridiculous. Like, this, is a pena. He's not even in the same weight class, and he's not even a world champion. He's never been a world champion. He's a good fighter. He beat Baranchik. He's good. He beat Kendo Castaneda. He's good. But I mean, this is laughable. Like I read this, like this has got to be a joke. With all the talent at 147 pounds, you bring up Zepeda, and all the talent at 140, you bring up Zepeda.
And in-house, right?
Like, he'll fight him.
Like, why not just make the Josh Taylor fight? If you're gonna bring up 140 pounds,
he'll fight him.
Or like, Ramirez off the loss. Like, this is one of the worst fights they could have made, other than like just a complete no-name guy from like another country, right? Like,
I'd rather a complete no-name guy if he's a welterweight. So you're bringing up a non-champion from 140 to fight the pound-for-pound guy. The guy you say is the best welterweight in the world. The guy at ESPN still ranks number one pound for pound, I think. This is ridiculous.
How do you defend Crawford?
He didn't want to fight Porter. If he wanted to fight Porter, that fight would have been made. He didn't want to fight him.
Where's Crawford on your pound for pound list now, Gary?
That's my guy, too. He's off the list. That's it. You're off the list.
Off the list?
I have him at like 4 or something, but like this is ridiculous.
It's gonna be so sad when Crawford's off the list and then Usyk loses in a month and he's off the list too. Damn.
After who loses?
Usyk loses.
Oh, Usyk's not losing.
I should put Usyk on the fucking meme. Why didn't I do that? He's way more your boy than fucking Jazzy Dickens.
But Jazzy Dickens is hysterical because it's Jazzy Dickens.
Yeah, it was. I'll admit, Gary, even though Omar and Mario Barrios had lost at that point when I created that meme, Jazzy Dickens was the first name I thought of. So we know it's hilarious. Anyways, Crawford, please fight someone that's elite. I mean, like elite. I mean, like a world champion, a current world champion, preferably in your weight class, or like one of the top 5 guys in your weight class that you never want to fight. Please, for the love of God. Hopefully, this is just like in large part Bob Arum just fucking with his career, and then this is what his last fight supposedly on the contract, and he can just leave. That's what I'm praying to God happens. But Gary, that's gonna be it for the show today. Final thoughts.
There is we'll get into that next time. Because we're gonna do another show this week, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
We'll get into that next time. Find me all from social media, 3D Boxing blog. Please subscribe to the new channel, Texas Boxing Scene. All things Texas Boxing. All proceeds on that channel go to autism research and recovery. It is June 28th. Ivan Calderon is still not in the Boxing Hall of Fame. Let's get the Iron Boy in the class 2021. Texas is still not a country. Let's make Texas again. Let's make Texas again. Let's make Texas a country again. And also, there's an exit movement, a Sicilian national movement for Sicily to become its own country. So let's do that too. Everyone becomes its own country.
Gary, I love it. Also, remember, follow our other channel, Trending Now Network, for my political podcast. Me and Gary did a debate show maybe a week or 2 ago. It was really good. Hopefully, we can do another one this week, Gary, as well. Because we only covered like 2 sentences.
2 sentences
out of like 100+ pages of material you read. So a lot more to dive into in terms of the communist literature that you read, and I cannot wait to do it. And speaking of communist literature, I will recommend this book that I'm reading, Gary. I know you're interested always in U.S. history as well. This is all of Marx and Engels' writing on the Civil War and their correspondence together, their articles, their correspondence with Abraham Lincoln and other people in the United States. Really good, interesting stuff. For those who are interested in U.S. history and want to read some communist literature. But what else? I should do a General Strike podcast show on that other channel, Training Now Network, tomorrow at 4 p.m., let's say, maybe around 2 p.m. as well. I don't know on the time yet at this point. And then me and Gary should do a debate show this week and another MCR this week as well. Should be busy. Also, I was at, what was the name of the boxing gym this morning? Out in Reseda. I forget the name of the gym.
Or lived. He's from Parsippany, New Jersey, but obviously his family moved to Reseda.
Yes.
Reseda. And the girl, Elizabeth Shue, where was she from? She was a rich girl. Where was she from?
Oh my God. I don't know, Gary. This is
me.
like going to the bag here. Like, and I don't remember. But I forget the gym I was at. But I got talked to Logan and Jake Paul's trainer. That was interesting. And talking to a bunch of fighters there. So some videos and photos should be up as well. Also, I was at Hill Street Boxing Club earlier this week. I think it was yesterday or the day before. And that was a good time as well. Like I said, I got to see King Tug and some other good local guys in the gym. So some photos and stuff like that should be out in the next few days. Follow me, Matt Hunter, MCR, all social media platforms. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Links below in the description. And have a good one. And remember, at all times, ladies and gentlemen, fuck the police and free Palestine. Peace.